Hey, and welcome to Fun Swedish! Now that the weather is nicer and vaccines are coming, you won't have any excuse any longer to avoid meeting your Swedish partner's relatives. So it's time to learn what all family members are called in Swedish. First of all, the word for relatives in Swedish is släkt. Don't forget the tiny dots, because otherwise you're gonna say slakt, which means slaughter. So you could say, jag ska träffa min partners släkt. I'm going to meet my partner's relatives. First things first, since you have a Swedish partner, what do you call him or her? Well, if you're married, then you can say min man or min fru. You could also say make or maka. Make would be for husband and maka would be for wife. But they sound kind of old, and you run the risk of pronouncing it wrong and saying macka, which is a classic slang word in Swedish for sandwich. So you could end up saying my sandwich instead of my wife. Maka, macka. Very similar, but big difference in meaning. But what if you're not married but still live together? Well, then what you have is a sambo. The word for sambo comes from the combination of these two words. Sammanboende, sammanboende, sambo. Meaning that you live in the same place and you have a stable romantic relationship, but you're not married. And sambo is a gender-neutral word, so this one is quite easy. You would just say min sambo. And there are more ways of describing all the possible arrangements of relationships. But we're going to talk about that in another video another day. So don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss that video as soon as it comes out. Moving on, the first layer of släkt, or maybe family, are the parents. Föräldrar. Föräldrar is the word for parents, both of them. Mina föräldrar, my parents. And we also have the word mor for mother and the word mamma for mom. Min mamma, my mom. And far for father and pappa for dad. Min pappa, my dad. Both mor and far are more firmer versions of these words, and they're not used very much in everyday conversation. But they're gonna come in pretty handy soon. And if the föräldrar talk about their child, what word would they use? The most common word in Swedish for this would be barn, which is the Swedish word for child. Mitt barn, my child. But if you want to be more specific, then you have the word son, which is son. Min son, my son. Written just like English, but pronounced the Swedish way. Son. And dotter, again, very similar to English, but with a Swedish touch. Min dotter, my daughter. So maybe your partner talks about their parents and calls them föräldrar. But what are they for you? To you, they are your svärföräldrar. Mina svärföräldrar, my in-laws. Which is a funny word. The föräldrar part is easy. But what is svär? Well, svär is to curse or to swear. Han svär, he swears.
Fan också!
If you want to learn more about Swedish cursing, svärande, check out this video. But back to the in-laws. Then your svärföräldrar are your cursing parents? Well, maybe, because svärföräldrar tend to have a bad reputation. But probably it's better translated as swear parents. So the parents you gain by swearing an oath when getting married. This one probably makes more sense, but the other one is there as well. Something to think about. Let's continue with more family members. Life expectancy is pretty high in Sweden. About 82.5 years. So you might also meet the grandparents as well. And what do you call the grandparents in Swedish? That is easy. Farföräldrar. We took the far from father and the föräldrar from parents. Farföräldrar. Mina farföräldrar. That makes sense. A bit, but not 100%. Since the parents of your mother are also your farföräldrar. That's a little bit strange there. But let's move on. If you want to talk about your grandfather, then you need to know which one you're talking about. Swedes are very, very specific with these kinds of things. So we have two different words for grandfather. We have farfar, which means, well, your dad's dad, your grandfather from your father's side. And then we also have morfar, which is your mother's father, your granddad from your mother's side. Min morfar, my grandpa. And what about grandma? Well, we use the same logic here. We are super specific and always know which grandma we're talking about. We say mormor for your mother's mother, min mormor, my grandma. And farmor for your father's mother, min farmor, my grandma. So what is your partner for them? They are the child of their child. So logically, the word in Swedish is barn, child. Mitt barn, my granddaughter or my grandson. Barn, child is a great example of how straightforward and caveman-like Swedish is. You could technically go another level and say barnbarns barn, child's child. Here for some reason, with the word barn, we went less specific and gender neutral. We don't say min son or dotter. Those don't exist, but we do say barn. Let's look at more family members. Your partner might have siblings, and the Swedish word for siblings is syskon, both for one or more siblings. Har du syskon? Do you have siblings? Ja, ett syskon. Yes, a sibling. If your partner has a sister, then it would be called syster. Very similar to English, but Swedified. Jag har en syster. I have a sister. Then we have the word for brother, which is bror. Jag har en bror. I have a brother. Here, if they have many sisters, then you would say systrar. Jag har två systrar. I have two sisters. And if there's many brothers, then you would say bröder. Jag har två bröder, which sounds now a little bit more like brothers. Watch out for those tiny dots there in the plural version. It's also important to know that many people don't call their sister syster. They use the Swedish slang word syrra instead. Min syrra, my sister. And you can also use syrran, which also can be translated to my sister. Same thing for brother. There's also a slang version of it, which is brorsa, min brorsa, my brother. Or even more used here in Stockholm, brorsan, my bro. This one can be used for your brother, but also for your friend, my bro. Now that we know all these family members, then we can use the Swedish logic to come up with other ones. What about your father's brother? That is your farbror, your uncle, from your dad's side. Again, Swedish is very specific here. Min farbror, my uncle. Your other uncle is then your morbror. Hey morbror. Hi mother brother. Okay, that doesn't sound so great in English. So it makes sense that you had to come up with another word for that, uncle. The two other ones are pretty similar. Your moster is your mother's sister. Here we have a slight modification. It's not morster or monster. It's moster. Min moster, my aunt. And then we have the faster one. Your father's sister is in Swedish faster. Min faster, my aunt. And last but not least, we have your kusin or kusiner, which would be your cousin or your cousins. Again, very similar to English, but with a K, Swedish style. Mina kusiner, my cousins. So, those were the basic family-related words. If you want us to make a second video about the more complicated family words, like sister-in-law or stepfather, let us know in the comment section below. And of course, don't forget to subscribe and put a like on this video. Hej då! Vi ses nästa vecka!